What up, it's your boy, Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again. And this is 911 Season 4, Episode 13. Now, I don't get mad at TV shows a lot because I know the writing staff does this stuff, to draw in the ratings and stuff like this. But I am furious at 911 right now. Let's get into it, man. I am upset all around the board with 911 right now, man. Oh my gosh, this entire episode just upset me. It was great television. It was wonderful television, and I enjoyed it so much, but it upset me. Oh, first of all, we see that Hen is studying with our study group, and they're getting things better. And I'm glad to see that they found like a nice, they're hanging out. They found like a nice little common ground, especially with her and the chick that were bumping heads in the beginning. So they found a nice common ground, and they're hanging out. They're enjoying each other's company. They're studying. So that's nice. That's the good part about this episode. Then her mom comes in as she's on her way out to go to the farmer's market, and she complains of back pain. She passes out at the farmer's market, and she gets to the hospital, and Hen comes, and the doctor completely dismisses them. Now, what upset me about that is because he didn't even really look Hen in the eye. Like, he was just in a rush to get them out of the hospital. He didn't want to be bothered with them. Now, you could chunk it up to two things. One, the possibility is because they were black, he kind of dismissed them. He didn't want to listen. Or you can chunk it up to the fact that he was just a doctor that just didn't want to listen. Now, there's two possibilities, but either or, whether it was a racial thing or just him being incompetent, it was wrong in general, regardless. You don't dismiss patients when they come to the hospital. That's your one job. That's all you have to do is listen to the patients. Sure, you have to do other things like run the tests and everything, but that is your one job, is to listen to the patients. That's all you have to do. And he dismissed them, and if Hen wasn't so adamant about finding out what was wrong with her mother, the situation could have got really, really worse than what it was. So because the doctor dismissed her, she decided to go with her study group, all because the chimney kind of pushed her to it, to go with her study group to try to work and figure out what's actually wrong with her mother. And granted, they were having some fun in the beginning, like, is it this? Is it this? And they were guessing all wrong, but at the end, they actually figured it out because she passed out again, and they were on it, man, like pinpoint. And then they got her to the hospital, and I love the part where they rushed in there, and Hen is just shouting all this stuff at the nurse, like, tell her, get the EKG and stat and hurry up and all this other stuff. It was nice to see that moment, because if she wouldn't have, her mother would have died, man, and it would have been sad. But I'm glad they got her there in time, and the hospital was able to help her, and she had the surgery that she needed. But Hen talking to the doctor like that, I felt like that was justified, because he did dismiss them, and if he had listened to them in the first place, this wouldn't have been a problem, and she wouldn't have almost died. And he tried to throw it up to the fact, well, it's a good thing we caught it in time. And I'm with Hen. There's no we in this. You didn't even participate. You dismissed us because you thought it wasn't anything serious. Well, people just pass out sometimes. Really? She wasn't doing anything that would exert herself or anything, or any kind of shocking event for her to pass out. So why? Well, people just pass out sometimes. No. So there's no we. This ain't French class. So Hen was like, we figured it out. She just said we, but like, they figured it out. You weren't any part of this, man. So don't try to take credit where there is none. And I love the fact that, like, she didn't really tell him off, but she kind of just made it known that, you should listen to the patients when they come to see you. And that's what he really needed to do, because he was one of those doctors that just dismiss people. Now, we see that the first call, I'm not even gonna talk about the very beginning, because you guys know that was just that intro, and it was hilarious, because I felt like she got her just desserts. The bride chick, being all rude and trying to lie detector her bridesmaids and everything. So her getting shocked and her dress being burnt up, that was good enough for her. Now the actual case that we see is with the lady and her son. Now, I figured something was going on with her son the entire time, and then when she brought up the autoimmune disease and all this other type of stuff, I figured there was something going on with that. But I didn't know that she was poisoning him herself. And that's why she was so adamant. Oh, no, I can't go to the hospital. You don't want to go to the hospital because you don't want nobody to find out that you've been poisoning your son with eye drops. And this whole episode, to me, man, like, there's so much going on, but it's realistic. Like, like, all of these problems that's going on with this episode are real world problems. It's not just stuff that, well, okay, well, I can see that. possibly maybe happening in you know in real life or something, or it's fictional. This was all legit stuff being dismissed by doctors, someone poisoning their kid for the money or the attention, because we see that like Miss Flores ended up finding all of this stuff about this lady, like 4 different cities, 4 different names, 4 different GoFundMe's, and she got all this money and everything. She's a crook, and she's poisoning her son to get the money and the attention. And that's why she was so skeptical about going to the hospital. Now, Eddie didn't want to believe it because we know Eddie's in a similar situation where he's a single parent raising a disabled and ill child. So he's in that same situation that she's in, and he's kind of trying to be understanding. And this chick isn't in that situation. She put herself in that situation so she can receive sympathy, which is so much worse than her child actually being sick. And at the end of the episode, we see Chim was like, well, you know, I'm kind of glad that she fell through the roof. I mean, the balcony. Me too. Because the sad thing is, she had been doing this to her son for a long time. And in the episode, he saw her doing it on multiple occasions, but he decided to do it to her. And I'm assuming he squeezed a lot in hers, man, because she was out here almost passed out and choking and everything else. So she saw him doing it. He saw her doing it to him. So he decided to do it to her to see what the big deal was. And look how it messed her up. And at the end of the episode, when they're taking her away in the hospital, she was like, in the ambulance, she was like, my baby. Are you serious? Are you kidding me right now, man? Because you poisoned your child. And the sad thing is because then you tried to make it seem like, well, you actually cared. I mean, maybe deep down she did, but let's be realistic. And this episode, I knew Bobby wasn't drinking. This was another part that I really just, that I was upset about. I knew Bobby wasn't drinking, but they're putting Athena and Bobby against each other. They're bumping heads, and I don't like it. I love Athena and Bobby separately, and I love them when they're together and they're combined, but them bumping heads and separated, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I love Bobby and Athena together, so they can't be doing this to me, man. And we see that Bobby's keeping secrets from Athena. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about that is it's not right, but it's his right, if you understand, because Athena does it on multiple occasions to Bobby, and he even lays out all of those occasions in this episode. And she's like, oh, so you're doing this to get even with me? And Bobby was like, no, that's not what I'm doing. But you see how it feels, right? You see how it feels to be left out of all of these life-altering decisions and consequences and stuff. Like, you see this. This is the consequences of you leaving me out of all of your huge decision-making decisions and decided to do them on your own. We're a partnership that's not a partnership because you like being alone. She doesn't want to be like, she loves Bobby and she loves that they're married. She loves their relationship. They enjoy each other's company. But Athena is a solo person. She even rides solo when she's, you know, on patrol and stuff. So she can't let these walls down for some reason. And that's another thing. That's why her and Michael really weren't together either, but not because, you know, him turning out to be gay, but because like they could never really be in a partnership because Athena pretty much had to be on her own and do her own thing. But you can't do that when you're married. Being married is a partnership, and she really hasn't grasped that concept. Now, I don't see why Bobby needed to do it, but I understand why he done it, trying to be there for the lady that caused the huge, massive pileup, because he's been in her shoes, he's been in her situation, and he understands where she's coming from, so he just wants to help her. And that's why I said I get why he done it. I don't know why he needed to, but I get why he done it. Maybe it's just something that he just needed, but I get why he had to do it to help her in the situation that she's in. Athena just didn't really, she assumed Bobby was drinking, but I knew ain't no way in the world Bobby's been sober all these years and now he decides to start to drink. There's nothing really going on in his life except for him and Athena, that whole situation. So there's nothing to push him to drinking. And that's another aspect that made this episode so real, because the situation and the problems that they're in is something that could definitely totally happen in real life. Now, we also have Maddie this episode. I feel like Maddie's having postpartum depression. I could be wrong, but it feels like Maddie's having postpartum depression and she can't really give Ji-yoon the love that she needs and deserves because she's having postpartum depression, and she's not talking to anybody about it. She's going to work and living her life and coming home and dealing with the baby and talking to Chimney, but she's going through the cycle. She's not really living her life, and she's not even telling Chimney that she's feeling these feelings or feeling this type of way. And I feel like that's a dark road to go down, man. And I don't want to see Maddie. I don't like seeing Maddie like this. And she was so upset because Ji-Yoon kept crying and everything. And she's like, well, she just won't. Everybody keeps telling me to calm down. No, she's having these moments, and I feel like everybody can, well, everybody, Sue and Chimney, they saw it, but like they don't really know exactly what's going on because she's not telling them. And I feel like maybe she doesn't know. She just know that she has these feelings. I'm hoping that before the season finale, maybe we'll address it a little bit, hopefully, maybe, possibly. I don't know, because I don't like seeing Maddie like this, man. Now, let's talk about the whole thing that upset me about this freaking episode. After they rescued the little boy from his deranged mother, Eddie got shot. And in that moment, I lost my stuff, man. Oh my gosh. I teared up and everything. I wanted to throw my remote control at my TV, but you know, it's a nice TV, so I can't do that. But I wanted to throw it so bad because there's no freaking way that you let Eddie get shot and then he's just leaking blood in the middle of the street. I was traumatized just as much as Buck was. Eddie got shot, the blood splattered on Buck, and the shooter's reloading his gun, and Buck is just standing there, shocked and surprised that Eddie's got shot and he's got blood. I was in that same mode. My mind had snapped because I couldn't fathom Eddie being shot like this. And the dude had to come over and push Buck out of the way so he wouldn't get shot because the sniper had him in his scope. I don't know, man. And just, it upsets me because, like, I know this is for writing and the staff and stuff like that, but are you freaking kidding me, man? There's no way that this should be happening. I mean, I can't, fathom a shooter, but oh my heart, man. Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. It was so upsetting. If I keep talking about it, we'll be here all day. I gotta stop. We got to see Carla come back this episode. It was nice to see her back. And she said something wonderful to Eddie that I really enjoyed, was when he was with Miss Flores and everything, they were having dinner and the cake and stuff. And she was like, well, make sure that you love her and you're not doing this because Christopher likes her. Make sure you're in love with her in their relationship. And I was like, you know what? That's true. I feel like Eddie does. He enjoys her company and he likes her a little bit, but he loves having her around more because Christopher is taken to her a little bit more. I don't know, man. I know Eddie's gonna be okay. They can't kill Eddie off, man. They can't kill Eddie off. They better not kill Eddie off. This your boy, The Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash the like button so you can smash any more. Comment down below and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out. Doing my thing.